Hello my friends, we're going to be working on 2-point perspective. I'm going to show you a bunch of tips and tricks in a series of videos that I'm going to shoot today. I did not remember to bring my ruler from school, so I'm going to use my yardstick here. Couple things to think about. If you want your city to be way more vertical, you might want to hold your paper vertically. I'm going to hold my paper horizontally because this is the best that works for the video. If you want your buildings to all look like they are where you can't see the tops of them, you might consider putting your horizon line down here. I'm going to make my horizon line right here because I'm going to show you some where you don't see the tops of the buildings and some where you do see the tops of the buildings. So I'm going to put my horizon line approximately 3/4 of the way up my paper, and then I'm going to decide where I have a vanishing point here and maybe a vanishing point here. So notice I'm putting my vanishing points towards the edge of my paper. In fact, I might even put this vanishing point over here a little bit further. So now the next thing that's going to happen is I am going to maybe put in a couple of roads. And so whenever you're using a ruler, you really want to be thinking about lining up your ruler with your vanishing point. So this ruler is a little too small, so I'm going to continue to use my yardstick here, and I'm going to add a road coming this way, and let's see, maybe a road right there. This road is going to come in over here, and then it might come over here. Wherever the two cross, we are going to erase the lines inside. This is part of the road, so we don't need those lines. This is where the traffic would be moving. Now the next piece that we're going to do is we're going to add kind of the curving of my road. So if I want to show the curving, I'm going to bring a little line down coming from the corner. And then again, this is the corner. My curving is going to come along this side. So I might line my ruler up with my vanishing point and the point at the bottom of my curving, and I'm going to draw a line. Now I'm going to skip over, so that's my edge. I'm going to skip over here, and I'm going to continue that line going down. I can then take my pencil, have a straight vertical line. If you can't make a straight vertical line, if you're not sure, then I suggest you take a short ruler, line it up with the edge of your paper, and that'll tell you that you have a straight vertical line. So there's the curving on this side, and then I'm going to repeat from this vanishing point to this bottom, and then again over here. So I'm going to line up. I always like to put my pencil on the vanishing point so my ruler kind of touches my pencil. I know that's correct. I line my ruler up at the very bottom. I know the two are sitting on the ruler's edge, and I can come across. So you can see right there, and then I'm going to erase this. Take my ruler, making a straight vertical line, line that up on the edge of my paper, and come straight down. So that's how you create your roads and your curving. If you would like to have dotted lines that go back, then you are going to go ahead and you are going to figure out here, line this up. Where are your lines going to go in the middle of the lines going back? And then you could, and I'm going to use the smaller ruler just because it's easier. Here I probably would use a guideline. Guidelines are dotted lines. Dotted lines tell us that these are lines that can be erased. They're not permanent lines yet. And I just realized I probably want to show you a crosswalk. So you can see this is going back. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back a little bit, and I'm going to show you a crosswalk here. So I'm going to line my ruler up here, and that maybe my lines, my my guidelines, my white dotted lines in the road start here. Maybe I erase this. So you can see that this is one, and I would always be using my ruler. I shouldn't freehand it. Like that. And then again, line it up. Now, one of the things you're going to notice is that as you continue to go back, you're going to start to see that these might get shorter and shorter and become a little less detailed. Notice I'm always going back to the vanishing point to kind of help make my ruler guide. Going across, it just kind of helps me make sure that my ruler is lined up with my vanishing point when I draw the lines. And you get to a point where things are going to start to disappear down here, and you might just have kind of a line going back. So if we have this skipping, we have, use my guidelines as a guide, erase here. So you can see how these are my dotted lines kind of going back, okay? If you wanted to make a crosswalk, you would go ahead and you would line up your ruler with the edge here, decide how many little lines do you want. So let's say there's 4 going back. And you might notice that I'm using two different rulers. At school you will have you'll have one ruler, and that ruler should be able to do everything for you because it's long enough for everything. Notice that I'm lining up at the edge of the line that I created over here, which I lined up with the vanishing point. And then from each side of this line, I'm going back to my left-hand vanishing point. Now at this point, I decide how far back do I want that crosswalk to be. So I'm going to put my pencil back on my vanishing point, line up my ruler. Let's say I decide I want my crosswalk to be that long. I'm going to put in my end lines for each of those and then erase. So this becomes my crosswalk, and I can do the same thing over here. So that's how you're going to do roads, your curbing, and your lines down the middle, and your crosswalk. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to do your sidewalks.